Help me reach 2,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. I never thought jealousy could feel like a living, breathing thing. But with Emma, it did. She had this way of bringing him into every conversation. Her ex, Jason. Every date, every argument, every quiet evening at home somehow ended with a shadow lingering over me. Jason would have done this differently, she'd say, twisting her lips like she was amused. Or, you're so sensitive, unlike him. At first, I laughed it off. Maybe she was just teasing. But laughter faded quickly into frustration, and frustration grew into something darker I didn't recognize at first. We met 2 years ago, Emma and I'm Mark, 32, a carpenter by trade, pragmatic, grounded, not the type to argue over trivialities. Emma was everything I wasn't: witty, charming, social, magnetic in a way that made rooms shift when she walked in. I fell hard fast completely, and for months, it seemed like it was mutual. We'd spend weekends hiking, mornings sipping coffee in quiet cafes, nights curled up watching movies while the world outside faded away. She laughed easily at my jokes, touched my arm when she walked past, whispered my name in ways that made my chest tighten with happiness. For a while, it felt like the world had finally caught up to me. Then came Jason. I don't know why she didn't tell me much about him at first. Just fleeting mentions, old photos, stories she laughed at like they were harmless. I thought it was normal curiosity about the past. But soon it became relentless. Every disagreement, every slight annoyance, every ordinary moment became a comparison. Jason never left his tools out like that. She'd sigh while I cleaned the kitchen. Jason would have remembered my birthday, she'd mutter while scrolling through her phone. I tried talking to her, gently, patiently, about how it made me feel. I begged her to stop dragging him into our life. She would just tilt her head, smile faintly, and say, "I'm not dragging anyone, Mark. Just stating facts." The turning point came one rainy Thursday evening. I'd spent the day fixing the shelves in our living room, meticulously measuring, sanding, and installing them so they aligned perfectly. I was proud. It took hours. I called Emma over, wanted to show her. She walked in, glanced at the shelves, shook her head, and muttered, "Jason would have made them so much better. He'd have finished it in half the time." That was it. The words sank into me like cold knives. I stopped breathing for a moment, my hands trembling. Every ounce of patience, every moment of love I'd poured into this relationship suddenly felt like it had been wasted. I didn't explode. That wasn't me. I just went silent, the kind of silence that felt heavier than any shouting match. I walked to the window, watched the rain streak the glass like tears. She continued talking about him, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. I realized then that I couldn't win with kindness, with patience, with compromise. Every effort I made was measured against a phantom, an idealized memory that never really existed for her. And the worst part? She never even noticed the damage she was doing. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation, every casual remark she made about Jason. I felt a slow, cold clarity take over. This wasn't about me being sensitive, or about Jason being better, or about any real comparison. It was about control, about ego, about her never letting me feel equal in her world. And if I wanted to survive, to reclaim myself, I couldn't play by her rules anymore. I had to reset the board completely. The next morning, I went to work as usual, but my mind wasn't on nails and timber. I thought about leverage, about imbalance, about subtle ways to turn the tables without being obvious. Emma's pride, her social circles, her obsession with perception, all of it could be used. I smiled at the thought, a strange thrill coursing through me. For the first time in weeks, I felt alive, awake, alert. Something had shifted. Over the next few days, I kept a careful routine. Outwardly, I was the same attentive boyfriend, the calm, smiling Mark she thought she knew. But behind closed doors, I was collecting, observing, noting patterns. Where she left her phone, which friends she trusted implicitly, what she bragged about to people around her, what secrets she assumed I would never notice. Every small detail became a thread. Every thread a potential way to weave a narrative she couldn't control. Then came the first incident. Subtle, almost invisible. I left a message on her phone pretending to be a mutual friend, hinting that Jason had been spotted nearby in town at a place she mentioned once loving. I watched her expression carefully as she read it. A flicker of panic, a twitch of unease. That tiny crack in her armor made my heart pound, made the planning feel real. She didn't know it yet, but the tables were turning, and I was just getting started. By the time Friday rolled around, I had laid the groundwork for something far bigger than a single prank or a petty insult. I had calculated her responses, anticipated her excuses, and built a plan that would leave her stunned, humiliated, and questioning everything she thought she controlled. But I didn't rush. The thrill was in the waiting, in the anticipation, in the slow burn that made every glance, every casual word, every laugh she gave feel like fuel to a fire I was carefully tending. It was Saturday morning when I finally made my move, and by then, Emma had no idea that the world, as she knew it, was about to flip completely. But what happened next was more shocking than I had anticipated. Even for me. She never saw it coming, never suspected a single thing, and by the time she realized what had happened, the damage was already done. The control she held over our lives, over me, over perception itself. It crumbled in ways she would remember forever. Saturday afternoon, I suggested we host a small dinner. Emma loved appearances, loved being admired. She invited friends, co-workers, her sister. Even Jason's name came up, and she laughed, said he might be in town. I smiled and said nothing. While she planned playlists and candles, I sent quiet messages. Screenshots, dates, quotes. Not lies. Context. Her comparisons. Her jokes. Her messages to friends about me. I framed them carefully, neutral, factual, undeniable. Dinner began warm. Wine flowed. Laughter filled the apartment. Emma glowed, telling stories, correcting me gently, slipping Jason into conversation like seasoning. I let it pass. After dessert, I stood and thanked everyone. I said I had something small to share, a funny realization about relationships. Emma rolled her eyes affectionately. I connected my phone to the TV. The first message appeared. Emma texting a friend. Mark's sweet, but Jason understood me. The room quieted. I said nothing. Another message. I wish Mark were more like him. A third. Sometimes I compare them. It helps. Faces shifted. Emma laughed sharply, said it was out of context. I nodded and advanced the screen. There were dates, months apart, steady, not cheating, not scandal. A pattern. I spoke softly. I said I loved Emma, that I tried, that comparisons hollow people out. I said I never yelled, never punished, never competed with ghosts. I said I chose clarity. Silence pressed in. Someone coughed. Her sister stared at the floor. Emma stood furious, accusing me of betrayal, invasion, manipulation. I agreed calmly. I said privacy mattered. So did dignity. I said I wasn't asking for sides. I was ending a story that kept me small. I unplugged the TV. I wished them a good night. I packed a bag I had prepared earlier. Outside, rain cooled my face. My phone buzzed with messages. Some apologetic, some supportive. One from Emma, furious, pleading, confused. I didn't reply. I drove to a quiet motel and slept deeply. By morning, the narrative had shifted. Friends reached out, not to judge, but to understand. Emma posted vague lines about betrayal. They didn't land. Truth has weight. It settles. Jason texted me once. Awkward, said he never meant to be a measure. I told him he wasn't. He was a mirror she kept polishing. We met later to exchange keys. Emma looked smaller, tired. She said she never meant to hurt me. I believed her. Intent doesn't erase impact. I told her I wasn't angry. I was finished. I asked for space. She nodded, tears falling, pride finally gone. Weeks passed. I moved into a brighter place. I laughed more. The shelves I built went up again, straight and sturdy. Sometimes revenge isn't destruction. It's exposure. It's choosing a moment that restores balance and walking away without shouting. She compared me to her ex. I compared myself to who I wanted to be, and that was the only comparison that mattered. Later, I learned restraint was the real lesson. Revenge at screams fades fast, but truth whispered travels far. Emery built her image slowly, cautiously, avoiding comparisons, choosing silence where she once performed. I didn't celebrate her discomfort. I reclaimed my hours, my craft, my mornings. Friends noticed a change. I listened more, spoke less, chose steadiness. When doubts surfaced, I remembered the rain, the quiet room, the click of the unplugged cable. Those moments taught me endings can be clean. You don't have to scorch the earth to stop standing in the shade. You step into the light and let people see. That visibility is enough. I carried that understanding forward, into conversations, into choices. I stopped measuring myself against anyone else's past. Comparison is a trap that keeps you small, reactive, and loud. Growth is quiet. It shows up in consistency, in boundaries, in leaving rooms without slamming doors. If someone keeps you chasing a memory, let them keep it. Build something real, present, and yours. Peace isn't passive. It's deliberate. It's a decision to stop auditioning for love and start living without an audience. That night remains clear to me because clarity lasts. It doesn't brag. It simply stays. When I think of Emma now, there's no anger, only distance. Distance is mercy. For both sides. I learned to choose myself without cruelty, to end cycles without noise, and to leave comparisons where they belong. In the past. The lessons settled quietly, shaping days ahead, reminding me that respect begins internally and thrives when silence replaces needless explanations without apology or regret.